Hi everyone, thank you for taking the time to watch this video which highlights the benefits of EBA 10. I'm proud to say that this EBA is a product of our improved communications with our members. We've listened to the conditions you needed us to protect and those you wanted to see improved. It's been an intense 9 months of negotiations and we were faced with the challenges of a company-wide non-negotiable 18-month wage freeze. Additionally, the business had a requirement for the 787 to achieve a 30% productivity improvement to make it viable. When you consider the constraints of working within those parameters, we believe we've been able to deliver an agreement that will establish significant improvements and benefits for all crew, and at the same time use the A380 model and work group where the productivity already exists to ensure ongoing access for Australian-based international crew to the 787. We asked you, our members, to tell us what was important to you so that we could address these issues during the EBA negotiations. I encourage you to consider all of the benefits we've been able to negotiate as part of EBA 10 package. We believe we've achieved improvements for every crew member across our diverse group. EBA 10 is a 4-year agreement and will start once approved by our members and the Fair Work Commission. The 18-month pay freeze began in December 2016 and will end in June 2018. There are some benefits for all crew and then there are other benefits specific to your work group. The EBA team will take us through some of those benefits now.
Let's start by looking at the benefits for all cabin crew. First up, the 15% allowance cut will be reversed. This is a big win for us and will benefit all crew. Meal allowances will be paid at the higher rate from the commencement of EBA 10. When EBA 10 is voted up, there'll be 2 bonuses paid to all crew who've been employed for more than 3 months. The first is a 5% past performance bonus based on your last 12 months earnings, and the second is $3,000 for full-time and $2,500 for part-time crew. There's FAQs around the bonuses on our website. We've negotiated for there to be annual 3% wage increases from June 2018, totalling 9% wage increase across EBA 10. All of our crew for the first time will have unlimited ongoing access to permanent 50% and 75% part-time employment flexibilities. As a result of membership feedback, we were able to push for changes to transport boundaries for the first time in decades. We've seen some significant gains and maps are included in our pack. If you're called out on standby under 120 minutes before your duty, you'll get a home transport entitlement both ways, up from 90 minutes currently. The FAAA has successfully maintained the cap on overseas-based crew be set at 25%, with agreement on restrictions of overseas-based slots on 747 USA flights. A negotiated benefit for commuters, which will extend to all of you, is that alternate paxing tickets will now be usable on any single-sector domestic Qantas flight. This includes some Qantas Link services. We've also achieved a change to the skills allowance paid, which will be a minimum $85 per day for all crew, a significant increase for our crew who work on the ground. IT flexibilities will include the ability to bid for training courses up to 12 months in advance. Training course vacancies will be in open time and ability to swap training dates through either open time or trip swaps. Additionally, an online leave swap system will be created so that you can swap leave, pick up additional leave, or have one-way leave swaps considered as well. Transfer lists are returning. If you want a vacancy or access to the 787, for example, you'll get it before a new hire or promotion. More information will be available before the list concept starts. The company has agreed to other FAAA claims, which will see improvements around line readiness review content and notification, hotel room criteria, transparency around promotions, and a domestic meal allowance provision for flights that are too short for meal breaks. We'll also see the domestic and family violence leave policy written into our EBA, providing additional leave options for affected cabin crew. The benefits for all crew are covered off in more detail in our EBA 10 member pack, which you'll find on the website.
Hello, for those that don't know me, I'm Stephen Reid, your National Industrial Officer. I'd like to canvass some of the key benefits for Part 1 QAL crew in particular for EBA 10. QAL crew were unequivocal in our surveys. You wanted to preserve the current seniority bid system, you were not interested in doing additional hours, and you wanted a continuation of the current VR formula in particular. You wanted to have access to the 787 aircraft and understood that the 30% improvement on Part 1 cost base was potentially in conflict with other things that you wanted to retain in the EBA. To that end, the FAAA set out to build a bridge to the 789 and A380 by continuing the salary top-up arrangements and making it more attractive for you. We've addressed that in part by the applications being accepted without the need for a song and dance video performance, an ongoing access to A380 and 789 on both temporary and permanent arrangements, and all the while maintaining A330 and 747 on current conditions should you wish to remain in the mainline fleet or return to it from A380 789 during the life of the EBA. In attempting to address the crew rest issues on the A330 in particular, we have negotiated significantly improved transport provisions on the A330 back of the clock trips. On the current schedule, this includes all A330 patterns from Australia to Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Narita and Bangkok. This provision applies to all main fleet crew, including QCCA crew operating on the mainline fleet, and other current transport entitlements will continue unchanged. To reduce numbers on reserve and decrease rotation by having the right coverage in week 1, mainline crew bidding for reserve will get preference for their bid for reserve line if they are available on day 1 of the roster. The required 28-day availability for reserve to count will now include all service and medical training days. Also, for our part-timers, your reserve line minimum hours are now set to 95 to avoid any payback on day 29, and we were able to negotiate only 5 additional A days rather than paying pay equalisation every roster and chasing the company for work on your Y days. You'll be able to request special event leave in the live reserve bid period. Rostering flexibility improvements include open time, order clarity, the ability for QAL crew to bid to 5 hours over company max in open time, and the ability for QAL crew to trip swap with QCCA crew where they can pick up 5 additional hours across the roster. Part-time language speakers will have their language requirement prorated to that of full-time crew. Protection of the preferential bid system, the redundancy formula, the last on first off provision, and the divisional flying agreement will be renewed and continue to provide job security around the allocation of A330 and 747 flying to international crew. Importantly, for job security, both the 747 and the A330 are part of the current Qantas 10-year fleet plan. 2 operational flexibilities which will apply to mainland crew were agreed to as part of the negotiations and are detailed in the FAAA pack. These will include a reduced slip notification provision for 36 to 32 hours and packs to operate reserve call-out maximum duty increase of 1 hour to provide additional work to crew on reserve lines.
Now let's look at the benefits for Part 2 crew, including QAL crew working on World Fleet and all QCCA crew. We've negotiated a significant benefit in that additional hourly pay will now be paid from 225 hours instead of 240. This will apply for all operational increases including open time but excluding trip swaps. The supplementary payment, known as top-up pay for QAL crew working in Part 2, will continue with annual increases in line with wage-related increases. EBA 10 will see the introduction of preferential-based rostering. Crew will be able to preference pattern day start and end, ports, sign on and sign off times, days away and next days. The system will be fair shared by the number of working hours per roster and will be a satisfaction model which the FAAA will monitor. EBA 10 includes the ability for Part 2 crew to drop pay protected hours unpaid. You'll also be able to request to drop a trip unpaid where operationally viable. Each hour dropped will result in a deduction, however crew will have the option until the end of the roster to make up the hours where available. A bulk annual leave process will be introduced for Part 2 crew. Each April, crew will be able to request blocks of leave of up to 6 weeks for the period of July to June the following year. Priority will be by the highest number of days requested.
This will be an opt-in process, and remaining leave will be available as single weeks using the current process. Allocation of Christmas, New Year will operate as it has over the past few years. For World Fleet crew only, reserve lines are being abolished. They'll be replaced with what's known as a 5-day available span, with a value like a pattern of 28.55 hours credit. Each crew member may be allocated up to 1 span per roster or less, depending on resources and normal rotation. Any trip allocated during a span will have a day free from duty after it, and if you're called out and it infringes your next trip, that trip will become fixed pay protected and you will not owe any hours. You'll be able to swap available spans with other trips or spans and may be able to pick up extra spans in open time as additional hours. The day free from duty provision will also apply to the day of after trips allocated against pay protected hours as well. We've negotiated improvements in A-day contactability for both A-days when pay protected or during your available span. The new contact provisions reduce the time you are contactable to a specific window, similar to Part 1 provisions. For details of spans, day free from duty and contactability are in the member pack on the FAAA site. After 2 years of service, Part 2 language speakers will be able to reduce their language flying commitment from 100 to 60% of patterns. For QAL crew, a language badge can be dropped at any time, as this is not a condition of transfer. We were able to gain 1 ERTI day for Part 2 crew in addition to the current sick leave provisions. The FAAA has committed that our crew will have access to 787 ultra long range flying. For this to occur, the company requires that we will extend our maximum planned single sector duty hours from the current 18 to the new maximum of 20 hours. The minimum planned upline rest following a duty over 18 hours will be 50 hours with an unplanned minimum of 24 hours. At-home rests will be 3 full days clear of duty. The FAAA understands how important managing rest in flight is to our members. The company has agreed to a guideline that on all flights over 15 hours, crews should be allocated a 3-hour continuous break, in addition to current break provisions. For mainline QCCA crew, we've secured a cap of 10 A330 trips with a back-of-the-clock component per roster. For mainline QCCA crew, the allocation of work position has been problematic, and so you'll be able to have a fairer structure by a rotating seniority number within QCCA, allowing you to sit in order on the compliance sheet. QCCA mainline crew will also benefit from being able to give away up to 5 hours to QAL crew when swapping. Additionally, QCCA mainline crew should note the changes to mainline reserve lines, including day 1 availability and packs to operate changes, as mentioned earlier. Finally, a new tripartite agreement between the FAAA and the company will allow QCCA crew the opportunity to consider transferring to domestic where there are swap opportunities available with QD crew.
So there you have it, the key benefits of EBA 10. We have much more information on our website in the members pack. I also encourage you to attend our members-only EBA 10 meetings, which will be announced soon. Once EBA 10 is voted up and is operational, the FAAA will be releasing guides to assist you to understand your working conditions through our Crew for Crew program. I ask that you take the time to read about EBA 10 and ask questions if you need to, because these are our working conditions. Let us know if you have questions specific to the EBA, and we invite you to join us on Facebook so other members can also benefit from your questions. Or you can email eba10@fAAA.net. We promised you to be completely transparent and keep all of you informed, and we'll continue to do this. Finally, we thank you for your membership and support, and don't forget to tell your flying friends about the benefits of FAAA membership. Remember, target 100%. With everyone on board, we will be a stronger union and be placed to further improve your flying careers. Thanks again.